Happy Friday, guys, and welcome back to my page and my channel. So I've been dying to do this video, you guys, but I've been busy because you guys know I'm in my second year of a PhD. Actually, I'm ending my second year of a PhD program in clinical psychology. So I feel good because I just finished my poster and my paper for my research practicum project that I did. I'll be presenting my poster actually next week at my school's conference, and I'm so excited about that. So pretty much finishing up this semester, rounding things up, and the only thing I have left is to finish tighten up my psychodiagnostic report for assessment and to do my assessment, end of the year assessment comp exam, and then I'll be done. So I'm feeling pretty good, you guys, and I'm like, okay, I have to address this issue, you guys, this whole Kanye thing about slavery being a choice. And I've kind of shared a little bit about my perspective on the topic on my Facebook page, my fan page, Danielle Leach, but I wanted to kind of really go into more depth on this issue because first of all, I gotta say kudos to Kanye because he's like a lyrical genius. This man has so much courage in the things that he says, you guys. You guys just don't understand. I feel like no other, I mean, you have very few anyway, I'm not saying no other, but it's very few rappers who are willing to touch upon politics. So I'm like, kudos to Kanye for having the courage and the boldness to touch on a very sensitive topic, slavery. And also kudos to Kanye because he's getting people to talk about slavery. He's raising people's awareness and consciousness on this issue, slavery, that has been pushed under the rug for so many years. I mean, a lot of African Americans don't want to face our painful history. We don't want to face that reality. So I love Kanye for this, and people are attacking him. I want to address this whole attack against Kanye thing because I feel like it's really displaced anger. People are attacking Kanye. Yes, his words are very triggering, right? And I talked about this again, like I said, on my page, so you guys can read the comment that I put. But I pretty much said that what's happening is that Kanye has triggered this emotional response in people, right? And it's touching on some very sensitive emotions. You know, people are feeling angry, they're feeling hurt. They're feeling betrayed by Kanye, but I'm like, Kanye is not the enemy, you guys. Kanye is just a messenger. You know, if anything, I say, like you say, he's raising people's consciousness on this issue of slavery. The fact that he said, I love it. I mean, these words are like amazing, so priceless. Like, it's hard for me even put into words, like how amazing this man is for saying that slavery was a choice. Now, I know a lot of you guys are very impulsive and quick to say, you know, attack people and just to say, oh, that's wrong, you get offended by it because he triggered something in you, and it should. You know, the word itself, slavery, should trigger negative emotions in African Americans. You know, so it's not necessarily, I don't think that it's so much Kanye as it is him kind of basically pulling something that is underneath the rug. He pulling it from out of people's subconscious minds. You know, no one really wants to address and think about slavery. Feel free, you guys who are watching, to share your perspective below. But I'm going to tell you straight up, I love the fact that he said slavery was a choice because I felt that it's very empowering for us to hear those words, that not just slavery, but anything in life that we go through, we can look at as a choice. That's so, you guys don't understand, that's so empowering, you know? He says, I'm not angry with Kanye. Great. And not only that, people are getting upset because he had on this hat, the MAGA hat, Make America Great Again, red hat. And everybody knows that that's Trump's phrase. You know, he coined that phrase, Make America Great Again. And people look at Trump as this, you know, bigoted, this racist man and power, you know, when, you know, who's the president of our country. You know, they look at him as this person who doesn't understand black people's problems. You know, he can't identify or relate to poor people. And so with Kanye wearing this man's hat, it's almost as if he's his puppet in a sense. That's how black people are looking at Kanye, as if he's his puppet. But I'm like, no, I kind of get Kanye. He's so deep. I said this before. He's so deep. You got to be high to understand him, you know, because he's taking a phrase that has been oppressive towards people, right? A certain group of people, and has turned it around to say that not only can Trump, a rich, wealthy white man, make America great again, but we all can make America great again, no matter how poor, how rich we are, no matter, who we are, the color of our skin, we all can make America great again. And we can own that phrase and redefine the meaning. You guys just don't get it. You get what I'm saying? I think everybody's just jumping on the bandwagon. It started with somebody saying, oh, like the guy on, what was that? The television show who basically checked Kanye. He called him out. What was it? TMZ. He called him out, the black guy. He was like, basically, oh, you don't understand, you're wrong, da 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 da. And I'm just like, I think after that, it kind of just sent everything into a spiral, and everybody else, every black person in America just jumped on that same bandwagon and started attacking Kanye. And I'm like, wait a minute, before you go attacking this man, this lyrical genius, we know that he's awesome. He's a great rapper. Before you go attacking him, just read between the lines for me, you guys. You guys don't read between the lines. Me, that's the way my mind works. I always don't necessarily listen to what someone is saying directly, but I read the subconscious message on what they're saying. And I get it. I get exactly what Kanye means by that. Slavery is a choice. It's the same line of thinking that a lot of psychologists and therapists, especially marriage and family therapists in my field, my line of work, they take that same approach. They use the same tactic in working with victims of domestic violence. Because oftentimes, victims of domestic violence feel like they don't have power. They feel very powerless. They feel that they don't have a say-so in the matter. They don't have a choice. So it's really a play on words. We know that the African slaves were taken into bondage. They were snatched away and taken into bondage. And we know that not all of them who were taken from Africa made it to America. Some of them chose to not be a part of this whole slave trade and jump off the boat. So they didn't make it over to America, But the fact that this man is looking at slavery through a different lens. He's making this statement. It forces us to look at slavery through a different lens. Instead of people you should be offended by it. I feel like, yes, because on one hand, blacks feel like we don't have power. But then I dare you guys, because that's what Kanye is doing. He's daring you guys to take a different approach, to say, wait a minute, what if we have a choice? What if we're not as powerless as we think we are, and we actually have a say-so in the matter to change things around? That's what Kanye is doing, and that's why I give him my props. When I saw that video of him on TMZ, and this man is pouring himself out, and I kind of get offended when people say, oh, he's just doing it for attention. He's just doing it because he has an album coming out, so it's a publicity stunt, so he can increase his album sales. And I'm like, bullshit. This man is Kanye West. He don't need any added, with or without the added publicity. This man is going to sell regardless. He is Kanye West, you guys. That's like freaking Jay-Z or Beyonce. You don't have to pull a publicity stunt to get more sales, to get attention. You can do a number of things to get attention, but the fact that he chooses to focus on everybody knows how touchy politics and religion is. This man was not born yesterday. He's not dumb. People are calling this man ignorant. I'm like, black people, slow down before we start to attack our own, especially in front of white people and other people. It does matter how we treat each other in front of other races of people. So it amazes me how quick African Americans are so quick to attack each other. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't see this amount of energy being directed towards the system, the oppressive, racist, white system. Why aren't black people attacking the system? Why aren't we saying, let's come together and let's resist this mental slavery, enslavement that we are under? But no, everybody uses this as a means to just go attack and pour out all of their anger, displaced anger on Kanye. And I'm like, no, you guys, he's giving you guys another option to say not only was slavery in historically was it a choice, but currently we are still mentally enslaved. Slavery still exists. And he's saying that we have a choice. The choice is we can either be complacent, conform to what white supremacy want us to do, what the master want us to do, or we can resist. We can resist, as simple as that. He's saying the participation in slavery, the participation in this thing is a choice. Slavery didn't end, you guys. Slavery just got reshaped. You know, they just revolutionized it. That's all. It still exists, just on a different level. And he's saying that instead of sitting blindly to it, we have a choice. We can stand up. Like I say, not to me. I applaud him because you're not gonna find artists who have such a platform as he has, that has the courage to be able to stand up, to say these things, to empower people. I think that was his intention, to empower African Americans. He has no reason to try to put black people down. Now, yes, we know he is worth many millions of dollars. So some may say, okay, he's very disconnected from the African American community because he can't identify with majority of African Americans who are supposedly struggling financially, I guess, right? And I'm like, no, this man is black. He gets it, right? And being that he has, like, he's risen up the ladder, the financial, the economic ladder in our society. I mean, in a sense, yes, he does have to struggle with this identity, you know, of who he is, right? Because he's black, and historically, you know, blacks have been seen as be the poor, we at the bottom. So it is an identity struggle to wear a certain skin color, but then you see that your bank account is beginning to grow and to change, right? And your friends, your circle is beginning to change, because when your size of the bank account changes, your circle is going to change. You know, you're not going to be hanging around the same people. So yes, it is a struggle for him as to figure out where does he fit in. And for you guys to say, oh, he's just a sellout, let's just not stop supporting him at this point in time just because of the statement that he's made. I'm like, okay, if y'all going to do it based on that, what about the fact that he's married to a woman who is not black? Kim Kardashian, I think she's Armenian, but she's not black. So you guys are attacking this man for making such statement, which I felt was just a statement to raise African American consciousness. You know, because look at all the memes that are out there about slavery now. Before he made that statement, nobody wouldn't think about freaking slavery. Now it's forcing us to think about slavery. Hello, that is raising consciousness. When your mind was on whatever, you know, what you're gonna look like during the summertime, or trying to lose weight, or, you know, different things that have nothing to do with what's really important, reality stars, you know, reality television, all these shows that y'all watch. I don't watch TV, so I don't know what's hot nowadays, but you guys know. So while your focus was on those things, right, Kanye redirected people's attention. That's what it means to raise consciousness. For you guys who aren't aware, who's saying, oh, he's not raising consciousness, he's just being stupid, he's just making ignorant statements. No, he's not making ignorant statements. You guys just don't understand this man's logic. When he was saying those words, I automatically got it, because I'm not looking at what's happening in the moment. Yes, it stirs something up in me. You know, so I could have said, okay, oh, his words are stirring something up in me, it's triggering something in me, so I'm just going to just become upset at Kanye because his words have triggered something in me. It's like, no, that's not how it works, you guys. Just because someone says something that triggers a negative emotion in you doesn't mean that you should go attack them. Doesn't mean that they are saying things to do you harm. Kanye means no harm to the black community. You know, he is on our side. If anything, he's trying to empower us to say, you guys, we have a choice. And if he can speak to the slaves back then, I'm sure he would have told them the same thing. You know, you have a choice. The choice may be death, but it's still a choice. You get what I'm saying? And some slaves did choose death over submitting to their master's rule, and said, no, we're not going through this. We would rather risk getting shot and killed and hung to death before we sit up here and go out here and pick this cotton out in these fields. So he has a point, and he has a very valid point. This man is speaking facts, you know. Like I said, a lot of therapists, a lot of psychologists, you know, specifically marriage and family therapists who work with victims of domestic violence and working with families, they use that technique, you know. It's like paradoxical intent. It's kind of hard to explain. But what it forces a person to do who's on the other end, who's on the receiving end of the statement, it forces them to think. Because up until a point where, let's just say, for example, not to say men can't be, you know, victims of domestic violence, but, you know, a lot of women fall victims. So let's say a woman, for years, many years, let's say she's been in an abusive relationship for, let's say, 10 years, right? So, and it's 2018. Up until this point, she probably, I'm sure, have felt that she didn't have a choice in the matter. Like, she's lived her whole life surrounded by the demands and needs of this man, trying to please a man, right? She doesn't want to lose this man. Her whole sense of identity has been wrapped up in this relationship and her connection to her abuser, right? Up until she goes to therapy, and then her view, her way of thinking is challenged by a therapist, you know, who makes such a statement, similar to what Kanye said, that, okay, you have a choice. That's like a therapist saying to a woman who is in an abusive relationship, you are choosing to get beaten. Imagine if you, okay, I'm outside, guys. But just imagine, you know, how life-changing it could be if you've been living your life, you know, a certain way, and then someone challenges your way of thinking to say, you chose that life that you live. The life that you're living, you chose that. You getting beat up by this man, you're choosing that. By the fact that you're still in the relationship with this man, you've chose to deal with that pain, the physical pain, the emotional pain, the psychological pain. You are choosing that. That's what Kanye is saying. Black people, we are choosing. That's like, you can say, you know, like I said, you can apply that statement to anything in life. You know, if a person is poor, one can say you are choosing to be poor. Now, I know the situation gets very complicated, right? We can say, oh, where there's systemic, you know, racism and oppression, and there's discrimination. Yes, we know those things exist, right? Those are constructs. Those are powers that live outside of the human race, right? But it's not just because those systems live outside of us, is not to say that we as individuals, we as couples, we as families, we as communities don't have the power within us to overcome those systems, right? That's all he's saying. He's just trying to speak power to the African American community, to say we have a choice. We can overcome this mental enslavement. And perhaps the slaves, he's saying the slaves back in the day who were in physical chains had a choice. And that reminds me, one of my classmates, she was talking about how, you know, she has members within her family, like maybe great-grandmother, I think, who told her about living on the plantation, right? Or great-grandmother living on a plantation and, you know, working for the man, and how life for her wasn't that bad. It's interesting to see different people's perspectives as it relates to slavery, right? You know, you have some people that feel like they just are completely powerless. They don't have a choice of the matter. They just gotta, do what masters say do, right? And then you have some people who are like, wait a minute, this isn't so bad. Like master is taking care of me. I can handle this. I'm benefiting from this, I have someone who can take care of me and oversee me, my wealth and, my health and well-being, essentially, right? It's different ways to look at something. And just because a person has a different perspective, you guys, that doesn't mean you go attack them. If anything, try to read between the lines. I feel like we live in a society that is so reactive. We're so overly reactive. We're so quick to react. You have one person that may say something, like the black man on TMZ who went, on a tirade against him, right? A tirade against Kanye. And then everybody else just jump on the bandwagon. Nobody really takes the time to think. And I'm like, like I say, kudos to you, Kanye. I can't say that enough. Any rapper who is not afraid to use their platform, to use their craft, to ruffle people's feathers. Sometimes you have to do that. I do that a lot. Some things that I say, people they come attacking me. That's why I think I can identify with Kanye, because I'm like, sometimes it takes those statements, those triggering statements, those inflammatory statements to get people to think. And it's perfectly okay to do that, We have freedom of speech, you guys. He is an artist, so he can position his words and string them together how he sees fit. Feel free to comment below. I've heard many different perspectives on this topic. Like I say, I made a post on my Facebook fan page, Danielle Leach, and then, a lot of people commented. Most people were pretty much against Kanye and against my perspective on this issue, and that's fine. As long as you leave a comment that's respectful, that's fine. I know everybody has their opinions. You're watching this, feel free to share yours below, but that's just my opinion. And I respect Kanye, man. This man been through a lot. He lost his mom. You get what I'm saying? Who God knows to what could have been a sacrifice, He's been going through a lot. But y'all, I don't like it when people are so quick to jump and attack black people in public. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not to say we are beyond reproach, So if something is wrong, you see something that black person doing, it's not to say we can't go in, have a conversation, one-on-one conversation with them. But the fact that y'all so quick to make all these posts and videos just attacking this man because he talks about slavery, he's sharing that's his perspective on slavery, and then he brings it to the current day to say, come on, y'all. Aren't y'all tired of telling the same story? Aren't y'all tired of saying the same thing? It's the same story. Oh, woe is black people. We so oppressed. We ain't got no power. White people keep doing. Ain't y'all tired of that? Don't you want to change the story? Knowing that we have the power and ability to change our narrative, to say, wait a minute. We can take the phrase "Make America Great Again" and give it a different meaning. We live in America, so what's the point? We live in America, you guys. Most of y'all don't plan on leaving America. You're born here, you're gonna die here. So this is a country you live in, you might as well make it great. What's the harm in that? So you don't want to side, I guess, with a man, the president, who appears to be racist because that's his slogan, "Make America Great Again." So you don't want to agree. You want to appear as if you agree with him in public. So that's why everybody is attacking him. Like, come on. Pauline says, you are so correct. Most people form opinions on a whim without actually evaluating the true issue. I understand exactly I get where he's coming from. Y'all, thank you, Pauline. We've known Kanye for many years. Y'all gotta go back. Y'all listen to this man. Y'all know he touches on very controversial stuff. And I'm sitting here watching a video on my cell phone of him and TMZ, and I'm just like, go ahead, man. No other black person ain't gonna do it like that. Because we like to repeat the same narrative that we've heard for many years. White people got all the power. white people in control, system of, white supremacy is keeping us down. We love to say that narrative, right? Because in a sense, by saying the white man got all the power, it alleviates us of the responsibility to do something about it. We keep saying white people this, white people that, racism. It's not to say those things aren't real. It's not to say that Kanye doesn't know about systemic oppression and rape. Come on, y'all know this man is a genius. Y'all know he knows that. He's thinking 10 steps ahead of everybody. He knows this stuff. He's just saying, can we just look at it from a different perspective? And I just like how the way it's evolved into kind of like comedy. It's one thing when, as African Americans, yes, we have to be serious at times, and we look at what's happened to us in history and what's still happening to us, and we have to look at it, with a very serious eye and a serious tone. But it's another thing when we can progress to a point where we can develop enough ego strength within ourselves, enough confidence in who we are and our identity. We have enough stability within our identity. We're strong within ourselves to be able to look and laugh sometimes, be able to look at history and just laugh and reframe our thinking on it to say, well, wait a minute. Maybe that's why I say I like these memes. I like where this thing has evolved into, where there are a whole bunch of memes now. Hashtag if slavery was a choice. People are kind of making fun of it. But even in looking at those memes, I laugh at some of them because I'm like, it does something to me. It makes me feel warm inside to know that there's another way of seeing this, that I don't have to walk through life always feeling like I am the victim, that we are victims, but that we have a choice in this matter, that if we wanted to, we can come together and reverse this thing around and change this thing. I like that. That's what that statement that Kanye made, that's how it has impacted me. I like to hear shit I like to hear different stuff like that. To say, no, yes, we know what the status quo says. We know that that's the narrative that's been going around for many, many years. Black people poor, we oppressed. White people got all the power. White people is the master. It's like, okay, we know that's what's been the narrative. And now you got a black man who's bold enough to say, no, slavery was a choice. It's like, okay, this man, he feeling himself. He feeling empowered. Who knows? He probably been one of the main ones to lead a revolt. With that line of thinking, with a man who can think like that and take back power to say, you know what? That's a choice. That takes away some of the power that white people thought they had over black people. Because in the white person's mind, they're going to think we ain't got no choice. That the whole choice and power lays within their hands. That's what the masses think. All the power lays within their hands. But for a black man to say, no, no, no. Not all the power rests in your hands. Because guess what? We have a choice in this matter. And if the choice is to say, you know what? I'm just going to go with the flow. I'm going to give in. I'm not going to resist because it's hard to resist. You died resisting. Eric Garner resisted and he got shot and killed. But that's a whole part of the process, you guys, when it comes to gaining political power. Dying is a part of it. No war has been fought. No country has gained power and independence just by saying, okay, we strong. No, you have to fight. There are lives that are lost, because of it. And people resist. That's how you win. We resist. It's beautiful to know that not all the power rests in our oppressor's hand. I just wish that for black people, I have to go, because I'm on my break right now. But I just wish that black people, we just would think outside the box for a change. Honestly, people need to read more and stop with their misguided notions on topics they cannot argue about because they are illiterate on the subject. I truly agree with everything you are saying. Yeah, it's just like, I just wish that we as black people could just think outside the box for a little bit. You know, I think sometimes, you know, we just get in a pattern, a routine, because this is how our mama thought, this is how our grandmama thought, this is how they mama thought, you know, and it's just an ongoing intergenerational thing that's passed down through the generations. That's how they thought, so that's how you. It's like, no, we don't have to be y'all. No, that's how they thought, but we can change our way of thinking. You know, this topic is deep, y'all. You know, it's different shades of black. So some black people feel like, oh, if you don't act this way, then you ain't a real black person. You know, if you hang out with white people, you know, Kanye married to an Armenian woman. She's not black. Armenian is not black. It's more closer to white than it is black, you know. But people think, oh, just because he married outside his race, then he ain't true black. You know, it's just like, come on, it's so many different shades of black. We got to get out of this way of thinking, because I think sometimes the way we think keeps us oppressed, keeps us powerless, you know? That whole mentality, oh, what master gonna think? You know? It's like, damn, that, to me, it's beautiful. I just got to go ahead and end it right there and just say, what we see, this whole play out that we see on social media in response to Kanye making that statement about slavery being a choice, is beautiful. Because me, as a woman who studies psychology, I love to study human behavior. It's showing us how mentally enslaved we are. Because I'm looking at people and I'm just like, y'all are enslaved. You're mentally enslaved. If you think you don't have a choice, you're a slave. That is basically the reaction to Kanye's statement, is a revelation of symptomology that we see in the African American community. What we see when people get on there bashing Kanye and people disagreeing with Kanye, it's just basically showing us that the black community is still enslaved. We are mentally enslaved. How the fuck we gonna win a race war if we don't think we don't have a choice of the matter? And then y'all want to juxtapose, it's funny, the memes want to juxtapose black Americans today in 2018 compared to black Americans back then, to say, okay, they didn't have a choice, but we have a choice. That don't make any sense. Everybody has a choice. If y'all going to say black Americans back then they didn't have a choice, then the same might as well apply today. You know, that we don't have a choice today, which is the reason why you see black people use that as an excuse. The whole white supremacy thing and racial oppression thing, we use that excuse for the reason why we can't own our own businesses. We can't, you know, have our own homes, you know. We can't do a lot of things because of white people. You know, we put ourselves in this box. We limit ourselves. That kind of thinking is going to limit yourself. That kind of thinking, if a woman thinks she don't have a choice in an abusive relationship, she going to die in that abusive relationship. But if one day she wakes up and say, you know what? This man may have a mental hold on me, but I have a choice. And as gross as it was back in the day, you know, where we know white people killing black people left and right, that makes me respect the slaves even more that died. That say, you know what, we would rather die, jump off the boat before we sit up here and let these motherfuckers do this to us. We gotta kill ourselves. We'd rather kill ourselves or kill them, shit. You know, because they died. A lot of them died in the process of fighting back, trying to kill the white motherfuckers. And some of their ass got killed on that dang on ship coming over here. You know? But I just like that. I gotta end this video. I just like that kind of thinking. To say, we have a choice. I like that. Kanye, you empower me. Because, you know, in every decision that I make, especially at this level I'm at right now, I'm pushing my 3rd year of a PhD program in clinical psychology, that reminds me. That reminds me to say, Danielle, you still have a choice. Though I still face systemic racism, oppression at this level. I still have a choice of the matter on how I choose to move when it comes to dealing with white people. I still have a choice. Black people still have a choice. Even if you work for a white person, because like I said, it's just a different form of slavery. When black people, not just black, but people in general, go to a 9-to-5 job and put in 40 hours a week just to make pennies on a dollar, barely enough to pay your bills, paycheck to paycheck. That's slavery, you guys. Don't think you're doing better than the slaves hundreds of years ago. Your ass is still a slave. And you will have some blacks with that same line of thinking say they don't have a choice because they got bills to pay. And it's like, no, we got a choice. Y'all don't know hustle. Black people do not know hustle. We know to do what's comfortable, what's easy. Whatever we see with everybody else got a 9-to-5 job. Everybody else going in to slave for white people on these white jobs that don't pay you shit. But it's a choice. Y'all, you just got to be exposed to other black people who are doing it, who thinking outside the box of a 9-to-5 job. I work with them all the time. Authors, creators. Whether you're a writer or author, you're a YouTuber, you make films, whatever you make, documentaries, you're an actor, you're a dancer, a singer. That's thinking outside the box to say you don't have to take the traditional route of going and trying to go to college and, taking out all these student loans just to get a fucking job that barely pays you enough to survive, You're bound to that job. If you wanted to go and take a vacation, white people, they be booking trips to Europe for a whole fucking month. You get what I'm saying? When black people barely can fucking take 2 weeks off of their damn job and be straight. You can't even afford to take that kind of vacation because you ain't making that much money to take that kind of vacation. And you may feel like you don't have a choice of the matter, but y'all better listen to Kanye. He's saying we got a choice, man. Take it from a man who has made it. He come from the bottom. Y'all know he come from Chicago. This man come from nothing. He ain't have no money. He worked his ass off. His lyrics are very controversial, but I could go on and on and on and on and on and on, but it's like, come on, y'all, don't look at it like that. And just because you see him with the MAGA hat on, or he's posing with Donald Trump and Donald Trump supporting his music, I'm like, hell, shit, good. You got the president supporting you, good. To me, that's a smart move. Y'all better learn how to navigate through this system. It ain't about kissing no ass. It's about speaking the truth. Go and watch did y'all watch the full video? Go watch the full video and hear what this man had to say. I look at Kanye as a multiculturalist, and just because you are a multiculturalist, meaning that you embrace many different ethnicities, people from different ethnic backgrounds, different racial backgrounds. You're not just all about black people, I feel like a lot of times this whole black power thing is not wrong with vouching for your own people to say, throw up their fist, black power. But if you live in America, this country is ethnically diverse. Come on, we only make up 12% of the population, So you have to integrate, to isolate yourself and say, okay, we're just going to be over here. We're just going to do business over here. We're going to just stay away. It's just like, no, why keep yourself segmented? Why live in fear to say all white people are the enemy? Just because that's your reality doesn't mean that has to be every black person's reality. A lot of y'all be saying that, the white man is the enemy, so I don't want to have nothing to do with no white person whatsoever. That's your opinion. If you feel like that's the best way to beat white supremacy, to overcome racial oppression, then hey, by all means, you do that. But you got other black people who have elevated themselves to a different level of consciousness, thinking outside the box, and they see the big picture. We got to come together, y'all. Let's stop bashing each other, and especially our token black people who are at the top. Let's stop pointing fingers We so quick, we jump on a bandwagon, y'all, to attack black people, these black celebrities. You say integration has certainly worked out great for us black folks, not so much. Well, what's the alternative? Black people got all these fucking, reservations when it comes to being integrated, but what's the alternative? Because you are living, I mean, just think about this, y'all. To say that I don't know, I feel like it makes no sense to think that black people can just so-called, quote-unquote, take back America or take over America. Is that what the goal is for black people? So we know that white people are the dominant race, which means that they control, regulate, and own the majority of the resources here in America. Not just financial, but political too, So to say that we're going to take control over that, we're going to become the dominant race, like, come on. It's going to take a lot to make black people the dominant race. Going from 12% of the population, we're going to have to stop killing each other, attacking each other. Y'all not helping. By attacking Kanye, all you're doing is creating a further divide within that black community. So stop doing that. That's not helping us. The alternative could be black unity. It's been, okay, black unity, yes. We unite as black people. But we have to think smart, y'all. It's not black unity, yes, that's important. But to me, y'all ain't thinking this thing all the way out. Especially knowing that black people don't freaking hardly own anything. Not to say we don't own anything altogether. Yes, we do. We have black-owned businesses, small black-owned businesses and stuff like that. We own some things, but we're talking about significant things. We're talking about electric power. What are the black-owned electric companies? Cars. Who make cars? Ain't black companies, ain't black people. How the hell are we going to survive if we're going to say, oh, just only buy black? We got to think smarter than this. To say, okay, let's just segment ourselves into this little section and just be against all white people or people from all other. It's like, I don't know how viable that is. What you're saying is absolutely true, and no, I'm not saying that the goal is to make the black race dominant, because that will never, especially in America. I mean, y'all, that's why we got to go to Africa, y'all. We need to plan a retreat to Africa. Hundreds and thousands of black people should just all go to Africa at one time, just for a vacation, to visit, because black people are dominant there, and the biggest continent in the world is Africa. I would say it's the richest continent in the world, because it has most of the world's natural resources are in Africa, you guys. We are dominant there. 54 African countries, 54 black leaders in Africa. We're the dominant race. We don't hardly own anything, you're right, but we could. We sure could. But at this point, what is it going to take? I mean, it makes no sense to think we can just take over America. Like, good luck with that. You think they're just going to lie down and let us take over America? Come on. This shit is all about politics and war. Y'all know that. We talk a lot about being a small segment of people, but we spend dollars on place with the dominant racial group in the country. Money moves. You're right. Money does move. But come on. To think we can just pull out our economic cord from the white dominant structure, they can pull their shit from us. We always talking about, okay, let's pull our money, basically pull the electricity from the dominant group, pull back our fucking power, right? Take our shit back. They can take their shit back when we know much of our survival depends on white people. Let's just keep it real. I'm speaking truth, y'all. So we can play that kind of game. They can play that same kind of game. And where the fuck we gonna live? What food are we gonna eat? How are we gonna survive when we know much of our survival depends on other races? We gotta think this shit out before we just say, oh, let's go do this. We gotta think this shit out. We gotta think it out all the way, America belongs to white people. Let's just leave that reality as it is. It really belongs to all of us. You know, it's a multicultural melting pot. That's what it is. You know, and we just have to, you know, accept it for what it is, y'all. That's not gonna change. Like I say, they ain't gonna sit here blindly and just lay back and let us take over. The ones that's in power, they ain't gonna just let no other ethnic group come in and just take over. That ain't happening. It's not going down like that. But I gotta end this video because it's about time for me to go. But kudos to Kanye. Kudos to all African Americans who get it. You know, who understand that it's ways, it's different tricks and trades to the game, but we can take back our power. You know, I think the most important, we talk about money and finances and economics, and yes, that's important, but I think our identity as African Americans is more important. You know, we can hold on to our traditional African values, family values, our culture, then hey, we won. You know, we won. I feel like we still won. I think we underestimate our abilities and our success, how far we have come. Black people, we still here. We ain't supposed to be in America. After what happened to our ancestors during slavery, we ain't supposed to be here, y'all. All that post-racial shit, the black codes, they lynching black people still. We not supposed to be here. We are still alive. Black people, I mean, not all of us. Some of us, we struggling, right? Some of us are dying off. We getting killed. We ended up in jail and prison, unfortunately. But that's not to say, let's not overlook the many millions of black people who are doing well. We are surviving. We're so-called keeping up with the Joneses. White people they purchased $1 million homes. We purchase our $1 million homes. White people open up their businesses. We open up our businesses. White people take trips to theme parks, Disney World, Disneyland, Universal Studios. We take trips, you know? So it's not like, when it comes to basic quality of life, it's not as if we don't measure up. We do. But we talking about overall, you know, political power. That's kind of where we're lacking. You know, that's the issue here. Okay, I want to get through your comments. So that's the truth because we allow that to be true. There are issues that wealthy black people that could provide the foundation for our infrastructure aren't willing to disconnect from the white power structure. That's a good point. Something to consider. But then you have, you know, some people like, why should I disconnect? You know, it's like, y'all, this thing get complicated. Let's stop attacking wealthy or successful black people. Let me check the time. I know I'm way over. Okay. But let's stop attacking black people who are making it up the ranks. Because we all trying to make it up the ranks. And we all rely on the dominant structure. So to attack black people who are more well off financially than the average black person, let's say, who is lower middle class, you know, let's stop attacking them. Let's stop attacking the upper middle class or upper class black people, you know, just because they are higher up on that totem pole. Because every single black person, every single person in America is dependent upon the power structure. We are all connected to the power structure, you guys. So let's stop that shit. We got want to attack black people because, you this. Like, come on, we all are attached to it. Name me one black person whose life does not depend on a white-owned company. That's like when I make my videos about being interracial dating, right? Thinking outside the box, and I express my interest, not necessarily preference, but interest in dating outside of my own race. And you got black people come attacking me, and I'm like, wait a minute, don't come attacking me when I can name 100 things that you rely on that are not owned by black people. The underwear that you wear, the toothpaste that you use, the TV that you watch, the electricity that you pay, the fucking house that you live in, the landlord, the bank, your everything is regulated and owned by white people. So to go and start attacking black people just because it appears as though they are more connected to the dominant, like, we all are freaking connected. Stop it. A lot of black people get degrees from predominantly white institutions. And even if you graduate from HBCU, your ass still fucking connected to the white dominant structure. Because they are financed by white people. So let's just stop that. Dang, I wish I could chat longer. I appreciate your sisters opening up to this. I'm not attacking them. I just want us to stop saying that it is impossible. It is. Saying what is impossible? I don't get what you're saying. Saying what is impossible? To separate ourselves from the dominant structure is damn near impossible when you're talking about everything that we rely upon for our survival is owned and regulated by white people. You get what I'm saying? It makes more sense. I think that's why white people say go back to Africa, because if we just want to be 100% black, you know, and black everything, then there is a place for that it does exist. It's called Africa. You know, it makes more sense to try to start from scratch. And here in America, where we know things are kind of already designed, not in our favor, but in the favor of white people. And it's not just black people who suffer from white supremacy. Other ethnicities do too. Other people from other nationalities who come to America still feel the brunt of white supremacy and racial oppression. You know? I think it makes more sense to integrate. Because, like I say, to say we're going to take over, it doesn't make any sense. To say we're going to just, black people, okay, we're 4% of the population, we're just going to take over. Where the fuck is our army? Do you not know when it comes to war, you got to have a fucking army? To say you're going to take over, what you're really doing is trying to initiate war. You're fighting back. Like Kanye say, slavery is a choice. So basically you're saying, I have a choice of the matter to fight back, to take ownership, to gain political power. That's what black people want to do. That's what we're used to. We're used to being strong and being in power, right? That's part of our African culture. You know? It's like, you know, it's almost like shit has gotten too far. You know? It's gotten too far. It's almost like a child who's been raised up in a broken home, learned all of this bad stuff, ways of behaving, you know, and even carried it through their adulthood, and then now they're in their 50s and you're like, oh, just try to undo everything and rewire that person. It's going to take a lot. You're talking about many years of systemic racism and oppression. This country has been in existence for hundreds of years, and to say we're just going to turn things around, I don't think y'all guys really know what you're saying. All right, but anyway, I gotta go. I enjoyed talking to you guys. Feel free to continue discussion below. Get off my boy Kanye, because I think that, you know, his words, yes, they're very triggering. A lot of y'all can't handle, you know, words that trigger certain emotions in people. Y'all quick to react. You don't really think about what, you know, that trigger is and what's happening inside of you, what's causing that negative emotion of anger to surface. Maybe it has something to do with the reality that you're still oppressed, that your ass really ain't got much power to say so anymore, according to the way you've been conditioned anyway. Let's keep it 100, because we have a choice. It's a choice. Being oppressed, like you say, it's a choice. I like that kind of thinking, because that forces us to do something different. To know we have a choice of being poor, of being oppressed. Hey, we got a holiday coming up, Cinco de Mayo. Mexicans had to fight for their independence. They had a choice. They could say, no, we can let the French come in and take over us. Oh, no. Oh, we're going to stand up and resist and fight back. So we got a choice, y'all. We got a choice, but I got to go. Love you guys. Catch you guys later.